Hello, lovely people, and welcome. Today I'm doing another one of Dena Tollefson's art challenges. This one is the Blue Bird Art Challenge, and the rules are basically something blue or a bird. And my original intent had been to combine these, so I started with a blue background. I end up changing this later for contrast reasons, but I started by painting my canvas a dark blue, or rather a medium blue, and then I wanted to go for something kind of batik or stained glass-ish. So I used this masking tape, which I haven't used before, this large format tape, and started sketching out my image. And I sketched out an image. My idea was kind of a hummingbird hovering over a flower. And so I sketched it out on the masking tape and then cut it out with an X-Acto knife. And overall, this particular project has been an exercise in fixing things that didn't come out quite as I had hoped or expected or seen in my head. So I merrily go along. I have worked with masking tapes for a hard edge type, straight edge type thing with acrylics before, but I've never tried to actually use it for an image. So this was interesting. And the tape I have used before was not the same as this tape. I bought this large format tape. So it's new and I hadn't used it before. And it's actually a lot lower tack than I had expected, a lot less sticky. And that causes problems as I go along. So, as with many of these challenges, I try something new and I learn a great deal, and it's a lot of fun. So, many thanks to Dena Tollefson for these challenges. They're great. So once I had cut out my image, I positioned it on my painted canvas and found it really is low enough tack that I absolutely had to tape it down. And in fact, I had to go through with the same way I do straight edges in many acrylic paintings, go through with a gel medium, and in this case it helped to stick it down, and in general the gel medium helps to prevent the paint from going in underneath the edges. And that's very important because what I'm going to be doing here is a couple of swipes. So I'm using these paints, which are a duochrome metallic, which means they theoretically, and they do it some, if you shift the light, they change color a bit. I found that pretty much impossible to demonstrate on camera. I tried a bunch. I did not end up putting any of that into this film because it really, really didn't work. But, so I went through and I did kind of a liquid acrylic swipe using blues and greens for the hummingbird and reds and pinks and oranges for the flower, and then kind of a purple that's common to both to tie them together a bit. And I did multiple swipes until I liked basically what I saw, and then I peeled off the tape, and here you can see problem number 2, and that even with the gel medium I had a great deal of raggedness of my edges. So that's okay, but that's fixable with a knife and stuff. But the other thing I found is that while the shapes are there, even if I cleaned them up, they're not really distinct enough, and the camera actually shows you much better contrast here than what you see in real life. In real life, the values of the hummingbird and flower and the background were definitely too close and made it a little bit murky. The camera, I think, is picking up very well on the metallics and is actually seeing much more contrast than you see in real life. So I decided to go in and darken the background a great deal. And this also helped me clean up those edges because I could go in with the dark paint and make the edges smoother. And I really liked how this worked out. This helped a great deal. But I still have the issue that I feel like there's not enough definition of the bird and the flower. This is a style, it could work. You could consider it a finished painting uh, once the background is darker again. But I didn't quite like it. I also thought the flower and the bird were just floating in space a little too much, and they needed a little more on that background to make the painting work a little better. So what I did is I took some silver and I put it in a little jar that has a very fine tip, and I used it to do some definition. I outlined the bird and the flower. I gave the bird some definition so you can see the front and the back wing separated, and put in the eye, and for the flower separating out the petals. I think this helped a great deal. I think that actually made the two of them much more focal and defined. And then I went in and put in some vines, and here I made another mistake. This is an exercise in mistakes and how to fix them. So, I just had an extra little spurt out of the bottle there. So I just wiped it off and went back in with my background color, painted over it, and it worked out fine. So mistakes can be fixed. They're not a disaster. So then I went back in with the fine tip silver pen and cleaned up a lot of those little edges where my hand had been a bit shaky. I can go back in, and even if you're not adding more paint, you can use that little fine metal tip to smooth out edges. And overall, in the end, I think it looks kind of batik-y or stained glassy, and I like it very much. So thanks again to Dena Tollefson for these challenges are lovely. And thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And please, if you liked this, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you have thoughts, please leave them in the comments before. Thank you so much. Be well.